Howdy GX community, this is GXBOB again, coming to you guys to showcase another DIY, something that a lot of you guys have been requesting, and one of them was ignition kill. But we came across a problem, and a few of you actually commented on my other video. Ignition kill works, but what happens if the thief just runs away while your vehicle continue to keep trying to start, keep trying to turn over? And I tested it, and no, it doesn't shut off. So I would only use that ignition kill one if you are in the vicinity, if you are not going far, if you are around your vehicle, or if you are about to get carjacked, you can flip it right away. And if the guy tries to start it and he's not able to start it and runs away, you're able to go back to your vehicle and turn off that ignition kill. But in the event that you park at the airport, or you're going to go for a long time somewhere, maybe 2 weeks or a month, you don't want your car to keep cranking over and over if somebody decides to try to steal your vehicle and just leaves it there cranking until your battery dies. I mean, for a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 SUV, I'm pretty sure replacing a starter, replacing a battery is a lot cheaper than replacing the whole entire truck. But I did try to find an alternative, and the alternative is not to tap into the ignition, but to tap into the starter. So what we did was we went directly to the starter wire behind the start button. The problem with that is the starter wire is not a positive, it's actually a negative, and it requires two starters. Okay, so in order for our starter kill to work, we are going to have to wire relays to do two separate wires. Okay, two different starters, and they are negative pulses. They are not positive pulses like on older vehicles where everything is on a positive wire, and that's how people are able to hot wire vehicles. Nowadays everything's on a negative wire. So with that being said, we're going to get started. All right, so let's go ahead and check it out. All right, folks, these are the type of stuff that we're going to need. Okay, you're going to need your electrical box of goodies, because we are going to use butt connectors to hook up our wires. We might need a few other things, but let's just set this aside. You're just going to need a bunch of connectors, okay, electrical connectors. Most importantly, you're going to need the tools to do it with. You're going to need crimpers, and you're going to need wire cutters, okay, wire strippers, wire cutters, whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and set you the link underneath the video, okay, in the body of the description. Let's set that aside. Okay, I got a roll of 18 gauge wires just in case. We don't know what we're going to use this for. Maybe we're going to do some wire extensions, but I'm going to have this ready. Most importantly, we are going to have a momentary button. I'm going to share you the link on the bottom of the video. It is a button that only connects two wires if you hold down this button. Okay, and that is what we are going to connect to our starter kill relay. Okay, momentary button. Once you let go, it doesn't work anymore. It only works when you hold it down. Okay, and when you hold it down, the starter wires become in contact. Enough time for you guys to start your vehicle. Once the vehicle starts, you don't need to hold on to the button anymore. Let it go. Okay, we are going to need a couple of relays. Okay, very important. You're going to need a couple of relays. I know that in the past I've used nylite relay harnesses, but if you guys notice, the nylite relay harnesses are way too short for this application. I needed way longer wires, so I went with a different company. Okay, and plus this is going to be on the inside of the vehicle, so we don't need any rubber seals or any enclosed structure to the relays, just like the nylite ones. So we're going to set the nylite ones aside. We are going to use the nylite relay, but we're going to use a harness from a different company. And the problem with that, guys, is if you guys are going to be using my instruction, my tutorial, my step-by-step, I am going to tell you what color goes to what wire, and in order for you to not make a mistake, you're going to have to buy the same wire harness from the same company that I bought it from. Because if you notice, if you take a look here, the bottom wire of this aftermarket wire harness is blue, but the bottom wire of nylite right here is white, right? So it's different. Different company puts their color codes all over the place. It's just different. So we're not going to use nylite. We're going to use aftermarket. Just remember, any aftermarket wire harness that you're gonna use, and if you're not gonna use my link, just remember the bottom wire is gonna be blue. How do you know this is the bottom? If you turn it over, the bottom is always the plane of the bracket. Here's the bracket, bottom wire is blue, okay? The middle wire has to be red. Right there, the middle wire is red. The left side wire is black. The right side wire is white. The top wire opposite of the blue is yellow, okay? Yellow, blue, black, white, middle is going to be red, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna need 2 of them. Both harnesses are identical. We're gonna set this aside. We got the momentary switch. You are going to need a fuse add-on or a fuse, inline fuse, okay? It's gonna have this enclosure right here. Now I can put in a 10 amp or 5 amp or whatever it is. You're not gonna have to worry about blowing your load on the amperage or anything like that. It's only because we're gonna be working with the negative side to switch the relays, okay? We're not be using no power load or anything. We're gonna be using negative. The starter wire at the ignition switch is negative, okay? So we're only going to use maybe a 5 amp or something in order for us to switch the bridge on the relay. So you're not going to need a lot of voltage for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our relay in there. Get this going, lock it into place. And I know this is kind of short. Try to buy one that is a lot longer. This is a used one that I used in a different car. It used to be pretty long. I had to cut it in order to reuse this. Okay, so make sure you buy a longer one so you have an extension in order to reach your fuse box. You need something to reach your fuse box all the way from your ignition switch. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. First things first, whenever I work on 2 relays that are going to be doing the same function, I like to keep them together. How do I keep them together? I am going to match them up just like that. 2 yellows on top, 2 blues on the bottom, 2 blacks on the left, 2 whites on the right, okay? Make sure they're identical. I am going to black tape them together. I have my trusty 3M electrical tape right here. There you go, set up double relays, okay? We are going to put butt connectors on the top 2 yellow wires. I'm using red because the ignition, or actually the starter wire behind the ignition switch is very, very thin. So red is perfect. Red or pink is perfect. Same thing here. Use reddish pinkish. Reddish pinkish is mostly for 18 gauge wires. Okay. We're going to set the yellow aside. Now we're going to take the blue. We're going to connect butt connectors to the blue wires. Take the red wires. We are not going to be using the red wires. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold them up and just tape them off or zip tie them off. We're not going to be using the red wires. Red wires, I'm just going to zip it up just like this. Keep it out of the way. No red wires are going to be used. So I'm going to take the black wires. I'm going to pair them up to the side. I'm going to take the white wires. I'm going to pair them up to the side. Okay, they're going to go together. White's going to go together. Black's going to go together. Now the yellows do not go together. The yellows are going to be in line with the same wire that you're going to be using for each of your starter wires. We have 2 starter wires that we're going to interrupt, okay, behind that ignition switch. So one pair, the left side pair is going to be yellow and blue, okay, that's one pair. So you don't get it mixed up because you're going to be routing this behind the ignition switch. I'm going to go ahead and tape this pair together so I don't get it mixed up. I'm going to tape them together right about halfway. I'm going to do the same thing with the right side. The right side of the relay, I'm going to go ahead and tape them together, yellow and blue. See that? Yellow and blue, one side, yellow and blue, one side, okay? They share the same relay. Yellow and blue shares one relay, the other yellow and blue shares one relay. Okay, the white wire is going to be paired up, the black wire is going to be paired up. You do not use the red wire. Next, we're going to take the white wire and we are going to join them together. Just go ahead and take both ends of the white wire and twist them together. I'm going to use a blue butt connector. Crimp them together. I'm going to take the end of the fuse and I'm going to connect it to the white pair of white wires on the relay. I'm going to take my 3M tape and I am going to wrap this up so it never comes loose on me. You can go ahead and take one step further and zip tie this, but I'm just going to keep it taped up. It's going to be inside of the car, no big deal. Okay, so this is going to be my power. It's going to go to my power source. The black wire right here, I am going to take off the ends and I am going to twist them together. This is going to go to my momentary switch. Put a blue butt connector at the end here. Crimp it. I'm going to take my momentary switch right here. I'm going to take off the shielding right here. Don't need it. Actually, we're not going to need a lot of it, so let's take off most of the shielding because I'm going to have to route one end of it to a ground source somewhere in the vehicle. Okay, so both wires are going to be ground. One is going to go to the relay, the black side of the relay, okay, and the other one on this red wire right here is going to go to a ground of the vehicle. Okay, so let's go ahead and take off the shielding off one end of this momentary switch. I'm going to take the black end right here. I'm going to twist it. I took off about an inch, guys. The reason why I'm taking off an inch because this wire is super thin and it's going to go into a blue gauge butt connector. So we're going to have to fill up the barrel cavity inside here in order to crush it and not have this slip out. Okay, so I'm going to fold it maybe about 3 times, make it thick. Okay, I'm going to stick it inside the blue connector here. I'm going to crimp it down. There you go. Do the pull test. It's not coming out. Now I'm going to use my 3M tape and I am going to ensure that this doesn't ever come off. Especially on the thin side right here, guys. Now on the other end of the momentary switch, the red wire, I am going to take off the shielding, take off another 1 inch right there, twist the wires, and I'm going to fold it into three times to make it super thick. And I am going to use a 4 connector. This is so we could put it behind the 10mm bolt and use that ground source. Okay. Make sure it's a good fit inside, so when you crush it, you're getting full contact. There you go. Pretty nice. So we are done, except this, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to get a longer power source right here. I'm just going to go ahead and put a barrel connector here in the event that I need to extend this wire and look for a power source. Okay, so let's go over this one last time before we stick this on the vehicle. Okay, black goes together to one end of the momentary switch. The other end of the momentary switch is going to get a 4 connector. Okay, 2 wires going to be paired up. It is going to go to your fuse. This is going to go to your power source. Somewhere in your vehicle you're going to have a power source. Okay, on one of the relays you're going to pair up the yellow and the blue wire. Okay, pair it up, not hook it up together, but pair it up, and each end is going to get their own butt connector, because this is going to go behind your ignition switch. On the other relay, you have the identical one right here, yellow and blue. Okay, they're paired up also. Do not mix this together. Don't put this yellow with this blue. It won't work, okay? Make sure you separate it. Make sure you keep that in mind when you put this into the vehicle. So let's go ahead and go to the vehicle. Get a blue scraper, putty knife, and dig into this crease right here between your leather trim, side trim right here, and your center console, and just use your fingers and just work it out. And the whole thing should just pop right out. So let's set it aside. Next, we're going to go after your ignition switch right here. You're going to get your blue putty knife and just pry it open. Pop it out. And you're going to unplug the switch. So let's set this aside. Right underneath your ignition switch, you're going to have another rectangular panel right here. You're going to get your fingers and you're just going to pull on the top of it, and it should pop right out. Just grab your fingers along the edges and just pull out. You're going to want to unplug them. Unplug these plugs right here. They're going to be in your way. You don't need to unplug them, but I just like to have things out of the way when I'm working. Let's go ahead and set this aside. Now on your under dash, you're going to have this square knob right here. It's a little cover. You can use your plastic scraper. You're going to put it inside this little notch on top and pry it open, and there should be a 10mm bolt right inside there that you need to remove. I'm going to set this bolt inside the cup holder. Next, we're going to grab our blue scraper and we're going to stick it underneath here, and we're going to pry this panel open and we're going to unplug it. Dislodge all 3 plugs. Let's set this aside. I'm going to grab another one of my putty knives right here, my wide body one, and I'm going to start prying this piece up. Snaps out of place. Take it out. I'm going to put this underneath the car. You have a kick panel right here. You're going to have to remove this kick panel. There is a little black knob. I can't really show you because of the camera angle, but you just turn this plastic knob counterclockwise looks like this. Set it inside your cup holder. And now we can go ahead and pull this kick panel out. We need to pull this kick panel out in order to expose this 10 millimeter. You're going to have to remove this 10 millimeter bolt. We'll go ahead and lay this 10 millimeter bolt inside the cup holder. Right here, you're going to have a black plastic tray. Right underneath here, it's going to be held by a Phillips screw. I already took the Phillips screw out there. It's only being held on by one Phillips screw. You just pull it down and pull this out. There is a clip right here. You can dislodge this clip. And let's put this underneath the truck. Next, you're going to grab both hands and you're going to pull this bottom panel off. It's all clips from here, guys. Don't be afraid to pull. Go ahead and let it drop. Go ahead and unplug everything that's behind all these switches. And let it drop and let it just lay on the floor just like this. Next, we are going to take down this metal plate. This metal plate has 4 10 millimeter bolts. One right here, and there's going to be 2 on this side, on the driver's side over here. I mean on the passenger side. After you remove those 4 bolts, you can go ahead and unhinge it, push up and then back down, and this should fall right down here. You don't need to dislodge this airbag plug. You could just leave it right there. All we need is access to all our wires down here. Okay folks, now we are at our ignition switch right there. I'm going to go closer so I can show you what it looks like. Behind your ignition switch, there's a black plug. Behind this black plug, you are going to have a mint green and a red wire, very thin. Mint green and red wire. I cut them. Okay, so you're gonna, one end is gonna be for your switch, the other end is gonna be for your starter. Okay, just keep that in mind. See, you're gonna, right at this black switch where your ignition switch used to be, right behind there, you're going to have a mint green wire and a red wire. You can't get it mixed up because there is no other mint green or red wire inside this black plug. Okay, so when you see this mint green and this red wire, cut it. So I'm going to name this end right here the switch side, and the other end I'm going to name it the starter side. I already cut the other side right here. Here is the other mint green side right here. The reason why you see this thick wire is I made an extension. I made some tests. I did all this tests before I started this video just to ensure that everything goes smooth. So when I cut these wires, I made sure to go ahead and strip the shielding off, get it ready. You see the copper wire that's out already, the copper wire that's out. I already stripped it, okay? Getting it ready to go. This wire is the red wire of the starter side. I'm going to go ahead and strip the shielding off this, getting it ready to hook up to the relays. This is how the relay is going to work, okay? Let's just choose one relay. One relay is going to have a pair of blue and yellow. This blue and yellow right here, the blue is going to go towards the light green of the switch. The yellow is going to go to the light green of the starter. Okay, that's how you're going to do it. One side goes here and the other side goes that way. When I'm done with that, I am going to go back to the relay and I'm going to go grab the other pair of blue and yellow. Remember what we talked about? The blue is going to go to the red wire of the switch. The yellow is going to go to the red wire of the starter, okay? I won't be able to show you that portion only because it's a very tight fit right here. My hand's gonna be in the way, my head's gonna be in the way, my cutters and crimpers gonna be in the way. It's a very tight fit, but I'm letting you guys know that is the gist of it, just so you guys can understand. So what I did, guys, is this switch is supposed to go up here in the round slot. But what I did was I pushed the switch and I moved it down to this square slot, so there's a lot more room to work with. Okay, but just remember, when you're ready and when you're done with all your wiring, it's got to go back up there. So don't be wiring your relay over here. Your relay still has to go underneath your dash and wired up here. Okay, so don't get that all mixed up, or else you're going to have to take everything back apart just so your relay would fit. Okay, so have all this already mapped out in your head, how it's going to go back when you start connecting your relay to this. So I'm going to go ahead and start right now. I'm going to go ahead and take my relay. I'm going to take one pair of the blue and yellow, and I'm going to route it behind all this plastic here, and I'm going to route it up to this square rectangular opening, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the lime green to work with first. Remember how we said the blue wire is going to go to the lime green of the switch? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to put it inside its little butt connector here. Once I got it in place, I'm going to go ahead and crimp it. Make sure you crimp it very tight, guys. Okay, do a very gentle pull test to make sure it's not going to come out. Now I'm going to take the yellow wire of the same relay, and I am going to connect it to the light green, the lime green of the starter side. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, there you go. Perfect. One pair is done. Now I'm going to take the other pair, blue and yellow. I am going to slide it underneath the panel here into the square slot. I'm going to take the blue wire of the same relay, and I am going to connect it to the red wire of my ignition switch. Put it in there. Let's go ahead and crimp it. When you crimp it, make sure the wire is fully in there so it doesn't fall out. Let's do a little pull test to make sure it doesn't fall out. We're good. Now I'm going to take the yellow wire. I'm going to look for the red wire of the ignition of the starter side. Here it is. I'm going to connect the yellow wire of the same relay. I'm going to connect it to the red wire of the starter. I'm going to go ahead and crimp it now. Woo, space is really tight in here. Okay, we are done. So now we're going to work on the rest of the wiring. We are going to take, remember guys, this relay right here, you're going to find a nice space underneath your dash to zip tie it. The good thing is it's got these holes on the brackets right here. You can zip tie it up there where your knees are, okay, to keep it out of the way. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is, remember our momentary switch? You're going to look for a ground for this 4 connector right here, and it's perfect because there's plenty of ground right here. There's going to be a ground wire right down here. Okay, it's a 10 millimeter. All you have to do is loosen the 10 millimeter, fork this in there and tighten it up, and there's your ground. No problem. So here is the 10 millimeter I was telling you guys about. All I did was loosen it. You're going to take your 4 connector and you're going to push it in there right behind the 10 millimeter, and then you're going to tighten it. Make sure it's very tight so you have a good ground connection, and now your momentary switch is ready to go. So right now you are going to look for a power source for your inline fuse. If you look right here where your connector box is, where your left knee is, you're going to have a thick gauge green wire right here. Don't worry about sharing this with a bunch of other stuff on your vehicle right here. This green wire's probably got like 50 amperage right here. So we are going to connect our fuse onto here. Okay, so luckily my wire reaches over there, so I can go ahead and just hook up a male connector and a 3M T-tap right here, and it'll fit just perfectly. It's a blue male connector. I love male connectors and 3M T-taps because you don't have to cut into any wire. All you have to do is just pull back the shielding just a little bit, just so you can get the copper wire exposed, and you can just tap it into there. Okay, so there's my male connector right there. I'm going to tap it into this thick green wire right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wire stripper and I'm going to pull back some of the shielding off of here. To expose the copper, remember this is live right here. You do not want to be touching any type of metal with your hands and then touching any other type of metal on your vehicle, or else it's probably going to electrocute you and you're probably going to die. Okay, so where the hell am I? Where the hell am I? Where the hell am I? Where the fuck do you think you are? Can't you see the pentagram? That's not a pentagram. That's a Jewish flag. God damn it. My sign guy is so fucking fired. Why am I here? Why am I here? How quickly you forget, my old friend. What are you talking about? Let me see. In 2017, as I remember, you hung yourself because of your divorce, and then when you came to the gates of hell, I looked at your rap sheet and I was like, God damn, this guy is worse than me. I need him on Earth to wreak havoc. You will be my representative on Earth, so you can cause destruction. I need the worst human being possible. And once a year you're supposed to come back and check in, but you never showed up. Did you forget? No, I don't belong here. Yeah, me neither, but the job pays hazard pay. So I said, what the hell? No, I don't belong here. Oh, you don't belong here, huh? So let's go ahead and check out your rap sheet for a minute. Why don't we? God damn it! Let me see here. When you were 10 years old, you taped a string of Chinese firecrackers to a cat's tail and lit it on fire. Oh. When you were 15, you offered to help an old lady carry her grocery bags to her car. Huh? What's wrong with that? You ran off with the bag of groceries. Genius. When you were 17, you finger-banged a girl on the freshman volleyball team. You didn't wash your fingers because you wanted to prove to your friends that you did it. That's not true. Does North High School in the city of Torrance and her name was Kathy ring a bell? Oh. When you were 22, you slept with a 14-year-old Japanese chick. What an asshole. I had no idea she was 14. I only found out after we got pulled over by the police. I swear. But you stayed with her for another 2 years after you found out. What an asshole. Let me see here. When you were 26, you made a girl get a tattoo of your name. She did because she was so in love with you. But a lot of people do that. But you dumped her a week later for her best friend? What an asshole! When you were 29, you convinced a girl that really, really liked you to have a threesome, and then you rejected her afterwards because you said you're not into sluts. It was pretty funny. What an asshole. Okay, what do you want? What do you want? Get me out of here. What do you want? When you were 30 years old, you pounded one of your friend's wives prior to them dating, then eventually getting married. To this day, he still doesn't know. I'm the devil and I wouldn't even do that. What an asshole! Last year, you convinced your first cousin you guys weren't related in order to bang her. After 6 months of tearing her apart, she found out the truth on 23andMe? What a fucking asshole! What do you want? Get me out of here. What do you want? I don't want anything. I got everything. I don't need anything from you. You're the one that said you don't belong here. I'm just checking up on you, man. I caught you praying the other night. I don't want to lose my best menace to the other guy. You know who I'm talking about. Well, I'm just checking up on you, man. I'm gonna get you back on Earth. I need you to continue to wreak havoc. And goddamn it, stop spinning around. You're making me goddamn dizzy. Oh, what the fuck just happened? Oh my God, a major headache. Woo, whoa. All right, let's get back to work, guys. Woo, what the hell was that? All right. Woo. So you're gonna take this green wire right here, and you're gonna take a yellow T-tap, and you're gonna tap it into here, just so we can plug in our male connector. I'll use a pair of pliers to help me clamp this down. There you go. I'm gonna take my fuse, my inline fuse wire right here, my male connector right here. I'm going to go ahead and plug it into this 3M T-tap. Let's see if we got a live wire in here. Beautiful, lights up red. See that red? That means I got live wire in there. Make sure I got live wire on the other end. Beautiful, I got a live wire right there. So if I hit my momentary switch right here, I would be able to feel my relay clicking. Do you guys hear that? So folks, you're probably wondering, okay, so where are we going to put our momentary button? Well, you can put your momentary button anywhere you want, as long as it is convenient to you. How do you want to start your vehicle? Do you want to use your left hand to push the button while your right hand starts the car? Or do you want to use your right hand only, push the start button, and have your thumb hold on to the momentary button? Okay, if you want to do that, what I recommend is where your start button is, you could put your momentary button right here. It's double-sided tape, guys. And I don't think anybody could figure it out, especially at night. Nobody's going to know a button's right there. They're going to try frantically trying to start the vehicle and they don't know how. Also, if you don't want it anywhere near your button, luckily that momentary button has a long enough wire that you could go right below that panel. Remember this panel, guys? Right below that panel right here, you can put that momentary button right here. You don't have to drill a hole. You can just pop out this notch right here, pop out this tab, and cut a little notch and run that little momentary button right here. I can't really show you guys because it's like deep down there. But I will show you once I put everything back. I'm going to show you exactly where I place that momentary button, okay? Just make sure you use nice alcohol and use 3M tape to go ahead and double-side that momentary button. That momentary button comes with double-sided tape already, but you know how I feel about no name brand double-sided tape. In the heat of summer, that momentary button's going to fall off your plastic panels, okay, because of the heat. I recommend going out there, buying some 3M double-sided tape to ensure that your button never ever falls off, okay? So, all right guys, I'm going to put everything back together. See you guys soon.